Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. Yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book publishers. So please, without further ado, hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, and here's this jerk ready to say something stupid.
You just said I was part of a...
All right. Marcus, how you doing?
Oh, that was a weird segue. Am I the jerk now? No. Hey guys, it's me, Marcus McNeal, editor-in-chief of Odyssey Comics, and as always, I'm blessed and happy to be back here with you guys on Indy Comics Explained for another beautiful Sunday night.
What's up,
hey! Oh, look at that! Oh, I popped up all of a sudden. Oh.
Just as you were showing off your IQ, incredible.
I'm gonna take the live stream camera into the bathroom next time I go. Just letting you know. Get ready,
go for it.
Get ready. You're gonna find all sorts of violations now. What's up, Streamland? How we doing? That's all I got right
now. That's fine. It's gonna be one of those nights. How you doing, Justin?
Hey, how you doing? Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, just to announce you. Just introduce yourself real quick, please. Thank you.
Oh, I write comics. Specifically, I write SWAT, which is currently on Zoop, trying to raise funds. Going to have Edge of Darkness coming out on Kickstarter here in a couple months. So that's me.
All right, cool. John, how you doing? Please introduce yourself.
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me. I write and self-publish under Diebold Comics. I've got a comic right now on Kickstarter. I think I have 2 days left. Alma, What If Buffy Was a 72-year-old grandmother? And we're funded, but we're still trying to make some more money.
All right. Listen, that's what you do. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
How you doing, Tom? Please.
What's up, guys? Tom Hutchison, Big Dog Inc., writer, publisher, art director, all the things. And the BD 14 anthology is up and running. We got about 10 days left to go on that.
All right, cool. And our last guest, he made it in. What's up?
Just barely by the skin of my teeth. What's up, guys? Michael Oden, creator, founder of Nine Realms Publishing, writer. Literally everything that Tom Hutchison said for Big Dog Inc. Apply it here. It's how it goes when you're in the writer world of indie land.
Mm-hmm. There you go. That's it. All right, gentlemen. So being, as Michael just said it, we're all in indie land. We're all doing campaigns. We're all losing our minds, right? And our wallets, right? So how are you guys dealing with the new increases in shipping, right? How's that affecting you? And what are you doing for your customer base that's giving them incentives to keep going with you? So, Michael, let's start with you. You were late.
Shit.
That's what happens if you put on the spot.
Honestly, it's business as usual. There's not much you can do outside of just try and price for it the best that you can. Obviously, offering tiers that allow people to get more books, and you're not necessarily hitting them up with a massive increase in shipping. It's just like, it's one of those things where, shipping, this is the dark horse of this industry, right? Like, one week your shipping rates could be great, and then the next USPS just decides to jack things up because of X, Y, or Z. I remember when I was doing the first Embrace book back in 2021, we had normal shipping rates, and then the paper shortage and everything happened, and USPS was having issues at like the tail end of the pandemic catching up on stuff. So shipping rates skyrocketed, like doubled or tripled, to get a media mail book from like Virginia to the other side of the country at that point was like, almost $10. And that was just for basic mail. And that hit me crazy because we had funded the campaign well before then. We had closed everything out before those shipping rates jacked up. So it's one of those things where really you just kind of got to deal with it. Try to be as reasonable as you can about shipping, and it's ultimately one of those things that occasionally you're just going to end up taking that on the nose and having to do something about it.
All right. Fair enough. Justin, what are your thoughts?
I haven't actually sold any comics yet, so I don't know, but that sounds about right. Sometimes you just got to like eat it. I have mailed a bunch, how much is it going up to?
I don't know, Jay. What are they raising it to? Because I know you said you had to take a vacation. They raised the rates. No more vacations for you, bro.
Yeah. We'll talk about it. I'll give everybody a chance first. Then I'll.
Well, no, but is it going up like? 10%,
so all right.
13%?
So anything under 16 ounces, ground shipping is on stamps.com. I know on the East Coast was about $5.33. To the West Coast from New York was about $5.70. So that was a 16-ounce package. I'm a 20-year veteran of the United States Post Office, folks, and I'm going to say this as a warning to everybody to protect themselves. Don't ship media mail. Don't ship your single issue comic books media mail. Trades are okay. Right? As long as they don't have ads. That includes house ads. Do not ship media mail. The postal inspectors have the right to open up a package if they feel it's suspicious. And if there's any other tchotchke in there, like a button or pin or a trading card, that negates the media mail rate. And, you can be fined. I'm not sure if the fine is $500 or $1,000. But when that builds up, because they can build a case against you very easily, all they have to do is type in your address and see how many packages were shipped from there. And the tracking numbers will just bloop, 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 line all the way up. They can build a case in moments if they want to. So please, everybody, I know shipping is expensive. I don't know what pirate ship is like. I use stamps.com. I know stamps.com has a big discount with UPS. Like a 3-pound package from New York to the West Coast with UPS was about $9. Whereas with the post office was like almost 16. Okay. This is recent shipping. I shipped out a bunch of stuff about 2 weeks ago. So these are the rates that I'm talking about. And I do use
that your current campaign?
That was my last campaign. Yep.
Good job, man. Good job. I didn't get my book, but good job.
Because it's hand delivered. You weren't home. What's up? It was left notice at the post office. Go get it. Go pick it up. Go pick it up.
I have a question about that. You said don't use media mail. What if you just ship a single issue comic and it has no ads in it?
It's a periodical. They're periodical rates. If you get it, if it gets through, you know what I mean. You got lucky. They were either too busy, or you had a disenfranchised carrier or clerk who didn't check, or maybe somebody who's new, who just like they just got through it. This is, I mean, can it happen? Yeah, it can happen. It can get through. But here's another thing about media mail. Media mail doesn't get forwarded if somebody changes their address from one place to the next during that fulfillment time. I mean, there's no forwards on media mail. And media mail does not get returned to you if they were not home to pick up the package, if they weren't home to receive the package, or go to the post office to pick it up within that 10-day window of when they're supposed to be picking it up, because you're not paying enough for that service to get back to you. That's what the media mail right gets applied to it. So you're gonna get fried, and just to save, a couple of cents, just do the ground, protect yourself.
All right. Yeah. Well, John, so what do you think? What are you doing to add value to your customer base?
Well, I haven't hit the postage yet. I just heard it went up after I'd already started the campaign. So this is only my second Kickstarter, and I haven't actually even fulfilled the first one yet because it just ended a month ago.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
I haven't had to deal with the postage and everything. That's been one of my biggest worries about postage going up and everything. The last little bit of this Kickstarter, we've actually been like doing a lot of sales through this Kickstarter, marking some stuff down, and I've got some comics. On Alma, most of them have been running for $20. The different covers. It's a 48-page comic, and we've listed it at $20. So the last week we've had some of them, some new covers on there for $10. We're offering the comic for $10 with a different cover, a different variant cover on it. So we're trying to lower some prices on stuff and add some bundles to make it as inexpensive as possible. But it also, you start getting to that point, and y'all all know that you start losing money if you go too low.
Oh yeah, this is true. All right, Tom, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't. No offense, I don't buy into anything that John just talked about as far as lowering prices and bundles and all that kind of crap. And not that it doesn't work, but in a general sense, in a thought process sense. But I've done this in multiple ways over the years, not just because of shipping, but just because what happens if I cut my prices? Do I see more backers? Do I see these backers buying more? Like, it just simply doesn't happen. So all of this thought process of scrambling to do something, it's not going to matter, guys. Doesn't make any difference. Now you can, if you want to try and figure out, like JD's been talking about, adding value to whatever it is that they're getting. Again, value means it's costing you more money. So if the shipping's costing you more money, if the packaging's costing you more money, and whatever this extra value is costing you more money, you're going further into the hole. So the only thing that you can do, and in our situation, I'm doing nothing. I'm doing absolutely precisely nothing. We're not raising our prices for shipping. We're not raising our prices for the books. We're not suddenly like adjusting stretch goals from like 2,000 down to 1,000 so that we get more into it. To me, I've done this enough, and I've done this in enough ways that it's obvious that people who back your stuff are there because they want it. They're not really concerned. I mean, I can't say they're not concerned with shipping, because obviously we all look at it and go, ugh, an extra $10. Like, that sucks. But they understand shipping. It's kind of like when people are like, well, I don't ship overseas because it's so expensive. I'm like, those guys are paying for it. Like, let them pay for it,
and they will pay for it.
And they will pay for it if they want it. Yeah. So the people that are buying from us, particularly online, websites, Kickstarters, whatever, they understand the shipping part of it. Now, there are people that are smart about it, and they're like, well, if I'm going to spend $10 on a book, I can probably buy 2 books, and it's probably not going to change my shipping. It's going to be the same thing. So they understand in their own brain, I can bundle myself and defer a little of that within my package. But for us to scramble and be like, well, shit, we got to do all of this to kind of, it's like, no, you're doing too much. There is a point where, of course, we have to look at it and go, Jesus, I mean, I got to add an extra couple of dollars for shipping or whatever it is down the line. I'm talking about, like, if it's going to keep going up. That's the other thing. Normal shipping, that's not a thing, because it goes up every year. So it becomes normal over time. Like, it's a shitstorm right now, but in 6 months it's normal. And then in 9 months, when it goes up again, it's a shitstorm again. So, but at some point we have to look at it and say, well, now I need to throw a couple of dollars on the pile. But there's also a limit to pricing of anything that someone's going to be like, okay, I'll buy this book. So I also hope that the post office understands that creates limitations for anyone, trying to send anything to anyone. Eventually, they price themselves to the point where we just go, fuck it, UPS, FedEx, whatever it is. There's alternatives. So if the post office is just going to become priced like that, then we have no reason to use that service anymore. Like, what's the point? So, hopefully they will understand that context at some point. But if not, then we just roll with whatever that is.
So
and we decide, like, $5, $6, $8, what do we do with it? Because there is an upper level of purchase power for the customer. Even if you're keeping my book is $15. Okay, great. shipping is $5, shipping is $6, shipping is $8, shipping is $10. My book is still $15, right? Eventually the customer is like, well, shit, now my shipping is the same as your book. We start to have problems. That's when we have real issues.
Mm-hmm. So Jay, you have to go back to the union heads, take a pay cut, and make sure everything is on level. All right.
Not gonna happen, right? So look, every year stamps will go up 1 penny, right? The U.S. government will not allow the post office to raise the stamps rates more than 1 penny a year. So that is locked in stone, right? So that's where that is. When it comes to other rates, one of the big factors is fuel rates, right? And a lot of people don't, the inner workings of the post office is really not understood by many. But every plane that goes out of every airport has one container dedicated to the U.S. Post Office. Mm-hmm. All right, that's FAA regulation. It's in there. But those fuel rates still get hit to the post office. So that varies. One of the things you can do, if you want to, I guess it's addition by subtraction, right? You want to look into things like flat rate shipping. So a flat rate padded envelope is about 9 and change. You could fit a Gemini mailer in there. I don't use Gemini mailers. I use different hard mailers, right? So maybe a little bit more extended. The one that I use is a little bit smaller. It fits easily in there. You can fit about 6 or 7 books inside the hard mailer, inside the padded envelope. So you are giving your customers, more protection, and you don't have to raise the rate of shipping because it's already included in the flat rate charge. And then you got your medium flat rate box. That's about $23. But those are for your bigger bundles, right? Those can easily fit about 60 books bagged and boarded inside of a flat rate medium box.
Yeah, and if you're doing that stuff on like stamps.com, a medium box is like $15.
There you go. So you're selling them more stuff, but you can bring down the shipping charge on that. So that's where you can find not bonuses, but to answer your question a little bit. Sorry to jump the gun on Marcus with that, but one of the other factors that plays a part is there's a periodical rate, and that's what comic books are considered. They're considered periodicals. The thing is, periodical rates are given to books that are on a recurring basis. We're not, right? We're not coming out monthly, quarterly, bi-monthly, or anything like that. And we're not doing
some
that.
of us are.
Shots fired.
But here's a question: does a periodical, is there a definition for it as far as what it is? Like, it is staples? Like, what if it's a square bound? You know what I mean?
It could be a magazine.
Because like magazines of all shapes and sizes are considered periodicals.
Okay.
And what determines a periodical is, as Jay was saying, like a scheduled release, whether it's monthly, bi-weekly, quarterly, annually, so long as there's like a set, you get one of these every X amount of times, it's considered a periodical.
Remember, Wizard Magazine, their first format, right, was perfect bound book. It wasn't saddle stitched, and those were going out as periodicals. They were going out bagged, and they were going out with the cards, so that can fly. And then there are the periodicals that come out like Ink Magazine or Fast Company that they're just
National Geographic.
No, see, National Geographic is covered. What I mean with those two magazines, they're open, so damage is abound with shipping stuff like that.
All right. Can I know you interrupted Marcus, and Marcus has been very patient, Marcus,
I'm trying to, brother. I'm trying to.
I know. Listen, whatever you want to come to New York and choke them out, feel free.
No, but on the topic, I'm with Tom. Not doing anything different than we usually do, and I know for me, I'm always looking for value and a way to reduce operational expenses when it comes to getting everything out to the backers. And it's unfortunately something you have to, deal with. Some things that we're still dealing with is like We saw this on the rate of comic printing going up and book printing. It's like you get something done, you get it funded. By the time that you're ready to put orders in, oh, looks like the printing costs have gone up 33%. Right. You got shortfall all of a sudden. Right. How do you manage that? Those are tough things to do. I know for us, if the rates are going up, also look for other means that I can start reducing things. So, we moved from Gemini mailers to, going with Uline mailers, which, protect the books just as much, but are 30-40% cheaper on average. I looked at moving away from where I was going and getting my bags and boards to getting them more in bulk from someone locally, and I was able to reduce the cost of our bag and boards by 50%. So spend half of what we used to spend on bag and boards. So we're able to offset in other areas by doing that. And even when it comes down to printers, I test out different printers. I compare people's rates against each other. I try to make them competitive with the business that we're going through, and hopefully that's something we'll be bridging more into the future. But we'll be reducing the print costs. Actually, we'll be able to do that with graphic novel size, since I have a print on demand network that I'm working with now to get me much better rates than the previous printers I was going with before. So it's all about doing whatever you can to leverage whatever is going on with your operational expenses and to make sure that stays low, because money is also getting cheap. Our dollars are worth less, just on top of everything. And then everything's getting more expensive on top of that. Being able to stabilize your business and what you're doing, like we haven't raised rates or the cost of any of our books on Kickstarter for what we're doing. We're always able to come in and kind of get everything covered and get it knocked out. And it just takes being flexible, working as much on the business side of things as you do on the creative side of things to find those avenues and those pennies, the 25 cents here and there. Those things add up and they matter at the end of the day.
Yeah. All right, cool. Justin wrote something in a private chat. He says, what if you had a business that shipped Kickstarter campaigns as periodicals?
I'm looking at the periodical rate. It is cheap. We need to figure out how to get that. I mean, there's got to be
what it would really come down to is you being able to say that you are going to be able to release this on a periodical schedule for like an X amount period of time. That's what it ultimately comes down to. So it would literally be, you would have to have everything set so that you could commit to a schedule of this is releasing, no bullshit, like every month or every 3 months or every 6 months or every this. And as indie guys, that's not generally something that we can do.
How often does it have to be released to be a periodical? Like, can it be annually, once a year?
You can, yes,
but it's a different rate applied to that, John. You'll be charged a different. Yeah.
Oh, you mean for how often you write? It's a different rate for each, like if it's monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly.
How many things you use, right? How many things you're
how many units you're shipping?
How many units you're shipping, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. All of that plays a factor.
Is it a contract you sign? Okay, yeah. So
at that point, I've never done it, right? I'm not in the sales department, but I know all of that plays a factor as well. Just like those the junk mails that we get that have the return envelopes in them, right? They broker out a contract to get that on the cheap.
All right, we start a charity. 10% of the profits go to whatever, and then we get nonprofit media mail prices, and we just you donate your comic, we ship it out to whoever you tell us to. Boom, shit, there you go. Scam the system.
Somebody once told me, I don't know where you guys are at. I'm in New York, and out here we get the little bundle of flyers from whatever supermarkets and stores, right? The coupon thing that used to be in the newspaper. It's delivered in a little plastic bag, and sometimes it's hung on the door handle. Sometimes it's just tossed at the door like the morning paper. Somebody once told me, hey, why don't you see if you can get into that so you can move units, and then you're telling people who are buying advertising that you're moving this many units a week or a month, so that way you can get all of that stuff paid. I'm like, no, that's not how this shit works. You gotta establish that first, that you're moving this before you can get people to buy into it. So I don't know if that's how it applies with periodicals. I don't know if you got to prove that you can do this so many times before they sell you that. Right? We gotta call the sales department on it.
I mean, for myself, I mean, the only thing I see myself doing is in the future, as far as stretch goals. I know on one campaign, instead of offering stuff, right, I will probably be offering a few extra pages in the book. So I have like a short story that I can add in. That's probably something I'm considering. And the other thing is, I encourage everyone, PDFs, buy more PDFs, please. I love it when they buy PDFs.
Might not always love them during the funding period, but I love digital backers during the fulfillment period.
I mean,
well stated, Marcus. Well stated.
Yeah, I mean, look, we just have to get enough of them, right? If you had 1,000 of them backing you at $8 a pop, I don't think
that's a good day, but like
right.
But
1,000. You got to get there. I know.
I don't sell 1,000 digital copies in a year across multiple platforms. Like, this is the downside to digital, is that yes, there's a market, but no, there's no market for it. Like it's so minimal and it's so pocket, and most of the people that do it buy specific types of books. They're not buying the things that we do. Obviously, I mean, I sell digital stuff. I get those sales, but it is not any sort of percentage that I look at it and I go, you know what, I could chase that in some capacity.
To piggyback off what you're saying, Tom, I feel like most of the people that I see buying digital books are like longtime collectors that want to continue supporting indie comics, but don't have the space to hold on to like physical books.
That's me. I'm at 120% capacity as a
or
as much as I love you guys, it's starting to get to the point I can't get in.
I find that most of my digital backers are actually they're people who read the books. Like they're the readers. They'll sit back and they'll always read the books. Whereas people buy physically, they'll eventually read the books, but the ones who tend to really be prone to read them are the digital guys. At least that's from the emails that I'm getting from them.
Well, I mean, obviously, there's no other reason to buy a digital because you're just getting a digital. So you're there to read it, which is great. We know those guys are reading it. It's like when I sell trade paperbacks, like those guys are there to read the books because they're not worried about the collectible side of things. But the digital side of it is just, it's so minuscule, at least for us, that it's like, I can't even, there's not enough of it for me to eat any portion of my brain go chase digital sales.
Yeah, well,
we've done too is what we've had some success with, and we're doing it on Iberia right now. We've done it on past campaigns. We're starting to do more of our miniatures and figures that we do. So instead of getting them fully printed and delivered, see on the campaign we have for Iberian right now, we make those available as digital STL downloads. Now people are paying
really smart.
$10 a pop for these things, on top of picking up the $15 for the digital book. So our digital backers are coming in $25, $30 a pop on things we don't have to ship. Now that's where it starts being the game changer.
With the accessibility to digital printers, that is like the smartest. Like I've considered doing that with, like, even if you did like had paid for like an STL file of like a statue of one of your characters, and you put that up, like people will buy that and print it off just to add to their digital printing portfolio.
Yeah, and they are. They're doing it in good number too. So that's been something that's really
smart
to see.
Yeah, but Tom, to answer your question, everybody here is at different levels.
Yeah,
you are at, you're as far as cash goes, you're like in the $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 range. I'm nowhere near that.
Yeah.
So I've had campaigns where half my sales are digital. You know what I mean? So it's significant for me. And when I eventually print and ship the books, my costs are like nominal.
Yeah, but
so it works for me.
But wouldn't you rather be selling a physical book and making more money than selling a cheaper book digitally? I know on the back end you're looking at it like, hey, this is cool. But if there's more money on the other side, are you trying to figure out why they're buying digital versus the regular book? You know what I mean?
Well, see, the thing is also the other thing is that internationally, that's where I see a lot of my
That's
digital sales
that's a
going.
whole different world. Yeah, that I
Right,
totally
because-
get. Yeah, 100%.
So I mean, but the thing is the way I'm looking at it is like, all right, let's say a normal campaign for me is 2 books,
Mhm.
right? 2 32-page books, $10 a pop plus shipping, which is $10. So it's $30, right? $10. The $10 for shipping, we get that's done, right? On top of that, we're looking at $3 a book to print them, more or less POD, right? So we got that portion out of it. So that leaves me with $14 profit, more or less, right? Kickstarter takes its 10%. Okay, so I'm with $13. Okay, so those same 2 books I sell for $8, right? But I don't have to pack them. I don't have to order them. I don't have to. There are a lot of other things. I don't have to like put the tape because just like you, I do all that stuff myself. That's time that I don't have to spend doing that stuff.
Sure. Oh yeah.
So I mean that's something factor, and the difference is $5 between $8 and at $13. You know what I mean? So it's closer, and I've seen people like I could probably start charging 10 for those 2 digital books instead of 8. Because I see a lot of
10
people,
for 2 digital books. You should be there already.
right. I mean, like I said, I try to give them a little extra. you know? So, and the thing is, and like I said, I got, just like everybody else, I got huge digital bundles at $45 and $18 and so on and so forth, and I do very well with those. So yeah, I mean, listen, like it's one of those things that we all got to look into it. So just got to keep digging. All right, Jay, you're up, brother. What's your?
All right, cool. So based a little bit on what Tom and Marcus were talking about, with trying to find any cost-effective measure and stuff like that. At what point do you think shrinkflation will take a hold of you? Right? And I don't know if you guys know what shrinkflation is, but that's the same bag of chips that used to be $1 is still $1, but has the 25 cent content within it, right? Or the Marvel Comics. It's still the same price or maybe a little bit more, but instead of it being 24 pages of content, it's no longer 22 pages of content. It's now 20 pages of content for the 32-page book. So at what point are you so maxed out on trying to find every cost-effective measure and not trying to raise the price? Do you fall into whether the trap or the ideology of, you know what, it's much more cost effective at this point to not produce 1 or 2 more pages of story?
Interesting. Justin, what are your thoughts?
I would actually be okay with doing 20 pages because my scripts always end up at 19 and then I have to pad them out for 2 pages. So that works for me. Okay. But no, I don't know. I don't want to talk out of turn, but I mean, if the story's there, however long it might be, 19 pages, 20 pages, 24. I mean, I don't think anybody's like, I'm not getting, the story was crap, but there was a lot of it, so I'm satisfied, right? So if you can do quality, if you can tell the story in 20 pages, tell it in 20 pages.
Okay.
But I mean, I wouldn't start cutting it up. I mean, you're not going to, how much is it? How much do you really save? I'd cut probably cut the bullshit pages first if we're trying to save on printing costs. But I guess you're talking about production.
Well, I think if you're talking about production, depending on what you're looking at, anywhere if you go from 24 pages to 20 pages, you cut those 4 pages, that could be up to $600. You say, it could be more, $800, depending on what you're paying, what your rates are.
How many copies are you selling at that point, though?
That's on the individual. I mean, I'm just talking about on the back end of production. You know what I mean? I mean, when you're actually producing the book, what your artist is charging you, just instead of doing 24 pages, you're doing 20 pages. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway,
then you have to look at the story and between actually writing the story and if it the saving the money for cutting it, because most of my stuff comes in at least 24 pages, or I have a bad habit of probably writing too many pages, like almost 48 pages.
Me too, yeah.
I'll start writing a book and I try to get it 24 pages, and before I know it, I've written a 36-page book, and sometimes it's hard to cut stuff, to to save the money.
Well, but at that point is how much better would it be for you to, if you have 36 pages, to add 4 pages and chop it into 2 books?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, Tom, what are your thoughts?
So I come at this from the Brian Polito school of making comics. When I talked to him, when I started my Kickstarter career, I just asked him questions after questions after question. And part of it was like things like paper quality and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And he came back to me, he said, Tom, look, I treat this stuff as a premium product. My customers understand that they're getting a premium product, and the price reflects a premium product, and they're not afraid to pay for a premium product. So I feel like anyone who steps up to the plate and says, how can I skimp? You might be going the wrong way. Not to the, like Marcus was talking about, you know, cheaper bags and boards and whatever. Like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like, hey, how do we reduce our paper quality so that it looks like piece of shit Marvel books? You know what I mean? Like that's, you're going the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I won't put myself in a position of reducing a book. I mean, most of my books are 20 pages anyway. Just sort of as a standard. We've occasionally done 22, 24, 28. We've even done 40, which is basically just a double-sized normal issue, just to like put 2 issues out at once, essentially. But I will always kind of follow that Brian Polito thought process of, look, we're making in my case, I'm making a collectible thing. Theoretically, you know, a limited production run. My customers understand, hey, there's only 100 of these things being made. Hey, they use cardstock covers. Hey, their interior paper is good. Hey, whatever. So for me, there will never be that reduce the product aspect. There will always be the, can we find cheaper bags and boards? That's fine, but it'll never be. I think the only thing for me that I've done in that regard is I've tried to play the Moneyball game, right? Whereas I used to go out and be like, well, I'm going to hire Eric Basildua and, you know, J. Scott Campbell and whoever, right? And those guys are expensive as hell. So instead of those guys, what happens if you hire 2 guys that are very, very good at what they do, but their costs are, you know, hopefully half of what one of those guys is. So that's the Moneyball method, right? Yeah. So you still have to sell more to, you know, to do all that between these 2 guys that maybe nobody knows. But then also along the way, you're now giving these 2 guys opportunity to be in front of fan base, you know, to grow your own, instead of just coattailing off of everybody that's out, you know, from Marvel or DC or whoever. You're actually building your own thing. It's kind of like, again, similar to what Polito did, right? It's not that he doesn't use names, but he uses the same dudes all the time. Mike DeBalfo is there all the time. Monty Moore is there all the time. Don McTague is there all the time. And these guys, I've worked with all of them, right? But that's his foundation now. Right. His foundation is at a level of like, holy fuck, every single time it's these guys. And then every now and then somebody like an Art Germ swings in, or an Adam Hughes swings in, or whatever. But if you can come in and be like, look, I've got Narcelio Sousa, I've got MR Gunn, I've got these guys that are awesome, and I want you to know who they are, my fans. You can build your foundation so that they can expect every time, hey, I want that Mars Foon cover, I want that Narcelio Sousa cover. You can build that without it having that supreme name and even harsher, the supreme name cost. So that's the only place where we are. So we've skimped on. I wouldn't never say we skimped on art, because I still think we produce amazing art, but we have skimped on name brand art, and so that's the only thing where we've kind of reduced a little bit.
And I think too, probably what you might discover doing that is that the bump that you get from getting those names usually doesn't quite offset the thing.
It depends. Like it's not a hack. It's not a guaranteed. No. I've seen people be like, hey, I just picked up this guy and he did a cover for me, and it doesn't perform that well, because the whole theory is that X guy's fan base will come to your book because he's on there. And yes, they'll be like, oh, Scott Campbell's doing something. But if if the people that are looking at the book are like, yeah, but I don't like that character, I don't like whatever that is, like, it doesn't matter that he's there. You'll get a little bit of overlap and grab some people, but it won't be necessarily a full swoop of, give me what he's doing just because he's on your book.
Yeah, I saw there's one book I had backed it, and I was following it for quite a while because I was interested. There was a cover artist on it who is a co-creator on a very big, well-known, like indie IP, and and the campaign was modest. You know, it wasn't asking for a lot, and that campaign failed. Like even with the big names attached, it still didn't bring enough in to even get it past its modest budget. And you know, we've seen some things like that too. It's like, you know, when we did Phantasmic, great book, we went for, you know, some really high quality talent. We already had great quality talent on the book itself. Did it move the needle that much over what we traditionally see? No. We could easily reinvest that money back into, you know, different areas or whatever we wanted to do, and it would have yielded the same result. So, you know, that's always my caution too. You know, same as Tom was saying, is just because you get those names and you have, you know, some big talent that you're able to get, it doesn't always necessarily move it for what the campaign is doing. And I think for us on the Odyssey side, to speak to the shrinkflation issue, it's step one for us is always do what's right for the story. If you need 32 pages to tell your story, you need 32 pages. It's what it is. Figure out a way to make it work. If you are at a point too, and this is something we're going to be doing a little, like we actually have started pivoting already. If you have a story and you're ready to get your book out, but you really need to make like a 48-page supersize issue to get all the story in there and make an introduction, go for it and price that book when you do your Kickstarter at the end of that tier, being a more premium book and seeing how people respond to it. In our case, that worked out very well. And, you know, we got the cost covered and everything like that. Then if you run into the cases, you got a 22-page book about, yeah, those are situations where I got to step in and be like a publisher, like, cut that down. Like, you know, first it makes odd page sizes and everything like that. Then second, it's just like, yeah, at that point in time, you save yourself on, you know, a few $100s of added art and color costs and time and everything like that. And it's also about understanding the audience. We know in the crowdfunding space, things are very different right now. It's like, you know, if you're making all ages content, it's on one tier. If you're making teen content, there's another tier. If you're making mature content, it's on another tier. If you're consistently seeing that your campaigns for, you know, all ages book or the teen rated and young adult book is only bringing in $3K, you can't go making a 60-page graphic novel. You know, your audience is not going to be there to make that a profitable endeavor for you. You have to understand where you are in the market and where your customers are too, and where your bread and butter is going to be. Like for us, it's easier for us to do something like, say, Iberian, where we're doing, you know, each book is 60 pages. Each book is a graphic novel. Okay, we know that we can price them at that, and then the audience there for our mature fantasy-related content are going to be invested in spending that money to get that too. So it's being smart and being knowledgeable about where your base is, how to manage the expectations of what each one is going to do. Then most importantly, like setting yourself up for success from the get-go. Like usually we try to start stretch things and then swing for the fences. 9 times out of 10, you're going to miss. So be conservative, be reasonable. There's also no problem with like taking your time. If you need to make smaller books, do it. Build your audience up, and maybe you can get it to that point where you're going harder either on talent, page counts, wherever the case may be, to get to that level. But I think for a lot of creators, they throw the kitchen sink at things to start out, and that usually doesn't work. So be realistic, be conservative, let it build, be patient. That's the biggest thing. I know us as creators, like when we have the vision and we can see in our heads of what the end result is going to be, we like to rush to get there. And we want to do it. Take your time. Like unless you have a serious health issue, you know, you might have time to let it and get to it. So just really, really, really be patient and be conservative in how you approach things when it comes to the production and getting the book out, because the slower pace tends to get you further in the long run than going for the gusto right off the bat.
Cool. Michael. Sorry about that.
You're fine.
Yeah.
No, like I think that there are definitely ways, as Tom said and Marcus, it's like there are ways that you can save money on like specific things, like whether it's shipping material, whether it's okay, well, I could go grab big brand named artist over here, or I can bring these newer talents that don't have that same price point, but can deliver the same quality work, and maybe even make homage to brand name artist styles as a way to kind of make sure that you're saving on your overhead going in. Ultimately, what it comes down to is, however you are saving costs on your book, it cannot reduce the quality of the actual product, right? Like that's where it becomes like unacceptable, because if you're not going to deliver a premier product, we're already at a point where we have to charge to mark up our prices against the mainstream, right? Like they're able to keep their books at anywhere between $3 to $6, so we're already charging 100%, if not more, off of what's being charged on the shelves. So if we're not going to be putting the quality into the book, then what's the point, right? Like there are ways to save money on, as has been stated, shipping supplies, hiring newer artists that are, that haven't necessarily been discovered yet. Like there's lots of ways to do it to cut back on overhead, but never do anything that would compromise the quality of your book, like reducing paper quality, or deciding, okay, well, I'm gonna, like, I know that initially I said that I was gonna do this much story, I'm gonna cut that down. Or if you were initially pitching a colored book and that's what everyone bought, you release a black and white one instead. Like that, those are things that it doesn't matter how, if that's what you've promised to your backers, you have to deliver it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, cool. For myself, I agree with everybody here, but I don't even think I got anything to add, which is kind of surprising. So, hail to you, bravo to you guys, good job. So, Jay, what, you have any thoughts on this as far as?
It came up, it was a little bit, I don't want to say triggered by what Marcus said, but I went to the supermarket today, bought a bag of McCain fries, same price, not as many fries in the bag, and I'm like,
that's been happening for like a decade, man. Like
right,
easily.
right. And when I asked the question, I wasn't talking about quality of the product. We're indies. We're going to try to put, the best quality we can. We stupidly do shit because we think it's cool, not cost effective. Mm-hmm. But like I said with the Marvel stuff, it's a 20-page book. They're $5. At what point do we start to trim our page count because of the production price? Plain and simple.
Well, we just said we don't, Jay. All of us have said we don't do it.
Now, right? We don't do it. We don't do it. And I'm with John. My last two books have been 30 pages or more, right? And I was the 22-page guy. Still charging the $5. The wife is hearing this part, so I'm going to hear it after I get off. But
well, see, and this is a great point that you just made right there, because, and I've had this same thing, right? People have talked to me about like page count, because I've done literal 8-page books.
Okay.
8 pages, right? And I've done 20 pages and 22 and 40. I have never, ever produced a book at any page count where someone came back to me and said, oh, it's too small, or oh, it's too, I'm so happy there's more pages. Like, they got quality in whatever context they got it, right? And that's the key. Whether it's 8 pages, 20 pages, 40 pages, whatever it is that they got, they were like, this was a fun product. So us going in and saying we need to like push for 24 pages or 28 pages because of quote unquote value or whatever, I think that as long, like even JD was talking about, right? If you've got a book that's like 36 pages Why not just make it 40, break it in half, and do two
That's right.
issues, right?
Mhm.
That will be cost effective to you, I guarantee you.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I've never had a customer be unhappy with 8 pages or excited about 40. Just so long as whatever they got was good, what they expected, what they understood. Don't BS them. Don't be like, hey, here's a 20-page book, and you give them 16. Like, that's a problem. But if you tell them this is a short story, it's 8 pages, it's 12 pages, it's this, they're going to get it. And hopefully they like the story or whatever. And they'll be like, hey, this is cool. I got what I was told I was going to get. So don't worry about like trying to push hard extra value without this is the point, without a little price bump, right? So if you're doing a 20-page book for $5, just to throw numbers out, a 40-page book should probably be at least $8. You know what I mean? Maybe not necessarily double, but at least more, because it's twice the size of the book.
A lot more juice in it.
Yeah, but again, my customers have always been like, Tom gave me what he said. This is awesome,
Right.
regardless of page count.
And in the end, that's what it is. You let them know, and you let them make an informed decision, and that's where you go, right?
But as independent, go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
what I would just say is, like, I think that Tom hit nail on the head. Is transparency is key, right?
Mhm.
Like, at the end of the day, what matters most is, hey, whatever you have told the backers is whatever the product needs to be when they get it. And so long as that is the case, you'll be fine.
Yep.
Like,
All right, Justin.
Yeah.
What are we looking at here, sir?
Well, that is my Zoop campaign. We're at about a third of the way through. Money-wise, financially, time-wise, we're got a little less than 2 weeks left. It's been a little bit of a slow start, but I'm hoping we'll get there. We got a lot of cool options that she really needs to get me the art for, but we'll have trading cards, temp tattoos, bookmarks, that kind of thing. You can get a commission for the artist. You can get a poster, that sort of thing. I don't know how much you want me to go into the details of the series or anything.
Well, that's up to you. It's your story. I mean, how much?
I'm insanely proud of it. It's called SWAT. It's short for Secret Wizard Assault Team, and it's basically if Harry Potter was a busted up St. Louis detective counting down the days to his pension in a What We Do in the Shadows type nightmare spiral. I don't know. It's got a lot going on, but it's really funny, and I poured my heart into it for sure. So when people read it, they tend to get it, so I'm ultimately optimistic whatever happens with Zoop. I just feel like maybe probably should have just done a Kickstarter. I feel like I really hurt myself with I shouldn't have to carry the website and explain what that is all the time and myself at the same time. I don't want to crap on Zoop. They've been wonderful, but it's just I don't think that it's where you should probably try to start your first Kickstarter at this point, given my experience. But anyway, but no, it's actually I might. Well, I think I might show Marcus here a little bit. I might submit to his company actually, but yeah, I mean it's. I really love it. I mean, I've written all 36 issues, so writing wise, it's all done, and I'm really invested in it. I poured myself out in it.
And I do got to warn you too, Justin. I heard the guy that runs Odyssey is a lazy piece of shit. So.
Oh yeah, that's what I heard too.
that dude is no good. No good. That's all I ever hear. No good, that guy. But so this is the first issue of a 36-part story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How long have you been working on the story? Just to get an idea.
I finished it last September, and I basically spent a year just writing this nonstop.
Right now, but how long has it been percolating in your brain?
2 years. Yeah. It just sort of. I got tired of writing novels, and then I just was sitting in this very chair, popped open my thing, and went Secret Wizard Assault Team, and it just sort of spiraled from there. Where it just popped into my head, and I started going, and it just got crazier and crazier as it went. And you know, so it's been a joy to write. It really has. Like I'm very into it, and I'm going to make it succeed. But even if it didn't, just the experience of getting to write it was enough to, you know, make it worth it for me. I spent a long time. I spent over a decade just writing and reading and writing and reading to get to the point where I could flow the way I, you know, did with this project. So it's been a joy to write. I know it probably seems like I sound like a lunatic ranting about my weird supernatural stupid horror comedy thing, but it is a lot more than that.
Mm-hmm. We all sound the same at some point.
Yeah, I was a Jehovah's Witness when I was a kid. I don't know if you've ever seen Jehovah's Witness art, but it's insane. It's like if Norman Rockwell was doing heavy metal covers, I guess. I don't know. And I kind of feel like maybe my aesthetic is some sort of, I don't know, fundamentalist deco. It's hard to.
I know those Watchtower covers used to go hard, man. They used to go real hard.
Yeah, when I was in, we had the Book of Revelation. You should look up some of that Book of Revelation art, man. Like the Whore Babylon, she is charting it up. Everybody looks, all the art, all the angels look like Kenny Rogers. Yeah, it's a whole trip. But yeah, I don't know how I went off on that tangent, but you should buy the comic.
Yeah, it's currently on Zoop. You have 11 days left. Man, you got to do a little hustling, but you still got time to make it. So
yeah, it'll get there. Frankly, I will be buying whatever I need to buy to make it happen. So it's going to go through. But I'll call my mom and be like, "You got to buy 500 copies of the PDF. Go." It's something. It's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's. People are starting to read it. Like I've gotten a few. I have another interview that got delayed, but I'm getting good reviews when people read the scripts, and it's been really frustrating because I feel like I have this amazing thing, and everyone hates reading comic scripts. Like everybody hates it. You know, so it's hard to get them to do that. But I feel like if they read like up to issue 4, if they read up to issue 4, they're like, yes, I'm on board.
So is this a particular issue 32 pages, 24 pages? What are we looking at?
21 is the page count on the script. I mean, by the time you add in all the other crap, it's probably gonna be a 24 page.
Gotcha. Now, what type of frequency are you looking to release? Like quarterly?
As hard as possible. It's really up to like I said, I've written all of it, so it's basically up to the artist and getting the money to pay the artists. I can kick back. I mean, I probably need to do an edit or two on the tighten up the dialogue in the back half. But I was reading through the last issue just last night. It's good. It's solid. So there's a few tweaks here or there or whatever, but I'm ready to rock. So it's entirely up to Rachel, essentially. So that might be 10 years or 6 months. I don't know.
Gotcha. All right, cool. I mean, it looks awesome. I mean, like I said, you got 11 days. Like I said, you're gonna have to.
Yeah, I've been on Facebook all over the place, trying to get stuff done, and there you go.
No, just listen, man. Just keep pumping. Just keep pushing. That's it.
Yeah.
John, do you want me to play this video?
Sure.
I like it. So, John, walk us through this. What do we have?
So, Alma's basically it's what if Buffy was a 17-year-old grandmother. So, there's two inspirations for Alma. Buffy, of course, it's pretty obvious, and then my mom. My mom's name actually was Alma, so it's kind of a combination of Buffy and my mom. So the hero in this story is a 72-year-old grandmother. Instead of the powers going to the young youthful girl or guy, Alma gets them, and she fights the monsters and the demons. And I don't have her fight vampires right away because I don't want to. I mean, there's enough Buffy influence already, so I figured let's leave the vampires out of it for the moment. She has the internal companion, which is like the person that helps her, tells her what's going on, who is part of this whole series, is a 3-foot-tall talking garden gnome. So it's a mixture of some comedy and a lot of drama, a lot of horror. I think one of my biggest inspirations as a writer is Steve Gerber, who created Howard the Duck. And if anybody's read Steve Gerber, he always has a little mixture of that, the absurd with the normal in it. So I kind of, mixed the two up. The book is funded. I think we're about 120% over, funded at the moment. I've got about 2.5, not even 2.5 days left. So hopefully we'll get it up a little higher. The book is done. It's 100% done. Basically, all I'm waiting for is once it's done is to print the book up and send it out. The second issue and the third issue are already written. So basically, this is trying to fund to pay my artist and to print the book to get the next issue out. And then, because it's a continuing series, I don't see an end in sight. Eventually, it probably will end. But so I'm kind of an issue ahead. So if I can keep funding them and paying for it, I can kind of be an issue ahead as I go.
All right, cool. What type of frequency are you looking at as far as a release, like once a year, twice a year, that sort of thing?
This is going to sound crazy, but I'm hoping every 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
Because the artist on it is very fast. Hernan, he can produce a book pretty quick. And if like I said, the first issue's already done, so hopefully he can get a book done within a month, and then we'll be ready to go in another 2 months, 3 months. Because I like to get it out on a fairly regular basis, because that's one of the disadvantages of doing something like this. If you try to do a continuing series, if you only get it out once a year or something, people forget about it, and I want to try and get it out on a regular basis as I can, and, so people don't forget about it, and, hopefully build up that base, that fan base, that people that will want it.
All right, cool. Is this a future project, A Girl and Her Dog?
That's actually already been, that's an add-on. That's already been done. I did that about 2 years ago. And Tony Isabella, who created Black Lightning for DC Comics, he read it and called it actually one of the best comics of the year, of all, of everything. So it did pretty well. I may do a Kickstarter on it, to try and get a little further reach from it, because basically it was printed and I basically sold it at conventions and whatnot.
All right, cool. Very nice. So, I mean, obviously, your inspiration was Buffy. Now, what made you want to bring in a gnome specifically as her sidekick?
Because I wanted something. I didn't want to just have. I wanted something really offbeat, off the wall. The first 4 or 5 pages of the book actually feature the champion that was before Alma, which was a 16-year-old girl. Her companion was a cherub called Randolph. So I want to just throw that different thing out there and just make something absurd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's cool. All right, cool. Now, the book is in black and white, or is it in full color?
It's in black and white, but we had a goal. If we reached 6,000, we were going to do it in color. Because I had a couple pages did in its color. Because at one point I was pitching this to Scout Comics, and they wanted to do it in color. And they actually gave me a colorist to talk to, and he did a couple pages for me. And then I kind of decided not to go with Scout because they were having a lot of issues. I figured I'd just do it on myself. So I like the black and white. The artist Hernan, I think, draws very well for black and white. It's a horror comic, so that fits the comic. And I like black and white. Color. The problem is, more people like color comics than black and white. But I'll keep it black and white unless we put a pretty high goal on it to hit color. So for us to do color.
All right, cool. Well, you're already funded. You got about another 61 hours, so hopefully you can pull in a few more bucks. It looks.
I'm hoping that last day, because a lot of times that last day seems to be people will pledge a little bit more. So I'm hoping I have a pretty good boost that last day.
Yeah, the last 48 hours are usually really good. Listen, it looks awesome, man.
Thank you.
I like it.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah, no, it looks great.
Now I will say too, it's 48 pages, 32 pages of comic. I have a letter page in there, and I also have 3 or 4 pages of recipes from my mom. And I also have my mom passed last year, and before she passed, she was writing like a diary, kind of like a thing, kind of to leave to my brother, my sister, and myself. So I actually put a couple pages of that in there too. So it's kind of it's a weird combination of a comic. You don't see too many recipes in a comic book. But I wanted to kind of put that flavor of my mom, because like I said, it was a lot of my mom influenced that comic, and I wanted to kind of make it as a tribute to her too.
That's beautiful, John. I like that, man.
It is.
Thank you.
We got BD14 anthology by some dude named Tom.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tom. Go for it.
No, you can do it.
This book right here.
Play his video.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, let me play the video.
Go ahead, play that video. It's a quick one.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's done.
There you go.
Okay.
How was that? Was it good?
There you
Was it
go.
too loud? Was it
Production quality.
Oh man, I got one of those too.
Cinema.
We must have had the same video editor there, Tom.
Oh my God! Yeah. So this is our BD14 anthology. We did BD13 last year. Everybody was like, "You can do another one?" I said, "Okay, we'll do another one." So it's an anthology book. It has 3 stories. Each story is 10 pages long. That one is the first. It's the one that I write. It's the expansion of our Critterverse. It has art by Art Voyager, and Nia Rufino is doing colors. Then we have Blue Jay. This is her first solo story. This is written by old school Marvel writer Barry Dutter, who did a lot of stuff like Spider-Ham back in the day, and he was involved with that book called Nightcat that'll come up a little bit later. And then we have our Oz book, which is written by Lori Calcaterra. This is it's hard to explain what this is. It's a return to the beginning of the story that I wrote about 12 years ago. Or no, sorry. About 12 years ago. The witch is still alive and so on. So it actually takes place during issue 2 of that original series. But then it also connects directly to where we are in the current aspect of the series on issue 25. So it's a cool little bookend story to introduce Allison into the Oz storyline, and we got Carlos Reno and Gat Melvin to come back in, and they're the series artists for Oz. So we got the old team back together to continue the artistic vibe of it all. But it'll be 30 pages with of story itself, and then we'll see if we have any stretch goals that we can add some pinups and stuff like we did last year. We've already got the first stretch goal unlocked. We're almost at the second one. So we have Bun Leung doing our chibi magnets, chibi magnets over the years. So he's continued on here. Critter is unlocked. Blue Jay is I don't know, $600 away or something. And then we've got Allison at 13. So we'll see if we can unlock all of those. And then we got the covers. Here's your basic, what we call the team up cover. If JD will scroll down to show it. There you go. So you've got all 3 of the main characters, and then that book actually connects artistically to the original one. So it'll be like one long connecting piece. We got Nia Rufino. So there's the Nightcat sort of tribute cover that we did. Joe Jusko did the cover way back in the day. Brian Peterson did it's not an exact homage pose, but it's sort of like Blue Jay found the building that she was on and took a selfie, because that's what she does. So it's a little tribute / homage cover by Brian Peterson. Then we have the CB Zane cover with Critter and Electric Youth. And then there's the quick catch up. So there's last year's issue. You can kind of see how they connect together there. But if you didn't get last year's issue, you can get that together. And then, of course, you can get that digitally, too, if you want to do that. And then we've got some more variant covers. This is Cow Appreciation Day we celebrated last year. And so we decided to do it again because everybody liked it so much. So we have our Blue Jay character turned into Moo Jay, taking her selfies out on the farm. Brian Peterson, Elenia DiNapoli. We have the Big Dog Inc. Bikini Team, the first annual bikini team. This was all voted on by our Patreon members. I gave them a list of characters and said, pick the 4 that you want to be on the first annual team. So we got Danica, Gail, Catnip, and Chloe, art by M.R. Gunn. This is a new artist for us. He goes by the name Zork Marinero. So he did a Danica Naughty and Nice set that we have together. All these are limited to 100 copies, by the way. And then all the prices that you see include shipping. So there's no extra shipping added on. And then this is Narcio Suso. We celebrated on the 20th was National Lollipop Day. So we have Cupid and her lollipop in a mystery box where you're going to get 10 BDI books, including that exclusive book. And we only made 50 of those boxes. And then if you just want everything, there's everything for you with a virgin variant of the Cupid cover. So it's a little bit different than the mystery box. You get a discounted price. And again, that includes your shipping as well. If you like all the swag, we've got some of our previous leftovers from some old campaigns, stickers, trading cards, poker chips. We'll just give you a big pile of stuff. We have a new metal set of trading cards by Nia Rufino. This is all of her art when she was with Aspen Comics with us. So these are her original metal set is long gone. So we made the Aspen set, and we're doing 50 sets of those. Specialty editions, if you like foils and metals and all that kind of stuff, we have those available for you if you want to get super fancy. And then you can dive into the BDI universe, find all these characters in their natural environments, Critter, Ursa Minor, Scheherazade, Kaiju Epic, just an ability to kind of dive in and try out some of this stuff if you are unfamiliar with who we are and what we do. And then the last thing we have are prints. I went through all of our prints and found the final copies of all of these. Some of these we have 5 or 6. Some of these we have 10 or 12. So I threw them all up on here. This will be the end of these pieces. When they sell out, they're gone. That'll be the end of them. We only do 50 of them. They're all hand numbered out of 50. So if you like art prints, we have Shannon Mayer and Natalie Sanders and Nia Rufino and Jen Broomall, Eric Basildua. All of these are at the very end of quantity. So if you want to grab some prints, this will be the end of the prints.
Cool. Now with the prints, how do you ship them in? Do you tube them?
Tubes, yeah. These are 13 by 19, so I tube them, yeah.
Gotcha. I got another question for you. Like, obviously all of us have our particular things that we enjoy shipping out for add-ons. Why magnets?
Because I used to do stickers, but I realized that if people are sticking them places, that they're there forever. And if they stick it on their laptop and then their laptop breaks, they get a new laptop, the sticker's gone unless they figure out a way to peel it off, right? But with magnets, it goes on the fridge. So every time they go get a piece of cheese, they're reminded of us because our magnets are all over the refrigerator. So that's it. Jay knows what I'm talking about. He's smiling. He knows.
Well, yeah. Well, he's always going for a piece of cheese. That's why.
You almost made me spit up on the computer, bro.
See? And then all your stickers would be useless. So magnets.
That's fair.
So we still do stickers from time to time and other types of things, but the magnets, especially the chibis, that's become like a set that we've done over the years now, and so people have come to expect like, hey, what's the new magnet chibis? And so that's what we've been doing.
All right, cool. All right, Mr. Oden, this is you, sir. You don't have a video, do you?
No, I do not. I had the same video editor that Tom had.
Tom had? Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it cost me. He charged me like $50 for what I had. I don't know what he charged you for.
Bro, I'm gonna send you another bill.
You got ripped off. But yeah, man. So this is the Embrace 2. This is a follow-up of my my superhero book that started back in 2021. First book had a lot of success. We raised over 15K on Indiegogo. So we're looking to come back and make a big splash. So this is obviously the continued story of our spectral hero, the Embrace, which follows this father, Clarence Griffin, whose son was murdered. And so in an act of desperation after everything, like the investigation has gone nowhere and everything like that, in this act of desperation, he's about to take his own life when the ghost of his son, David, shows up and stops him. And when they come together and embrace, Clarence is given a vision of what happened that night through his son's eyes and is able to see the people that were responsible for his child's murder. And when he comes to, he's in a super suit powered by his son's ghost. So the story obviously deals with a lot of issues of fatherhood, loss, kind of balancing the dynamic between justice and vengeance. And, you know, as I said, we did the first book. It had a lot of success. We had a lot of great feedback. It took me a while to write the second script, but when we finally did, you know, we got things underway. We were actually going to launch this campaign last year, but then stuff kind of got in the way. But it's all good. We were able to kind of come together and put together something special, I think, with this second book. You know, the first book was our line artist Dean James's first book, and he's leveled up a lot since then. You know, we upscaled on the colorist, I think, and we got some great variants and just offering a lot on the campaign.
All right, cool. So this is your second issue.
Yes.
Gotta ask, when do you expect the third one? Like what frequency? I know you said you had some difficulty putting up this one.
I try to do at least one book a year from each of my series. Mm-hmm. Is like what I'm trying to do. That gives people time to get the book, read it, and everything like that. And it also gives me time to get my script together, get it through however many editing passes it needs to be perfect, and then make sure that my art team has time to get pages out that really will sell the book well for the campaign. And so yeah, like that's really the objective with all of this stuff, obviously, is to just put stuff out there. And like, you know, one of the things that I learned early on was my first book that I did in the indie scene was Elysian Fields issue 0. And I fulfilled that book very fast and very ahead of schedule. And people got that book and were very excited about it. And then I went and did Elysian Fields Pyramid Gambit within a couple of months. And it was very difficult. Like, for whatever reason, it was very difficult to bring backers back. And a lot of people hadn't even realized that the second book had went live. And I was on like all sorts of shows trying to promote. So one of the things that I did learn is that it's better to kind of, you know, get the books out to the backers, allow them the chance to read and, you know, put their reviews out, talk about how much they liked the book and this, that, the other, and then, you know, use that hype to build a mailing list. We had over 600 signups for this on Indiegogo. So like it's exciting stuff. This is the last Indiegogo campaign I will be running, though, because this is the second campaign that within like minutes was shadow banned. I don't know why.
Now, yeah, that was something I was going to ask you. Is like, do you see a difference between the two platforms? Let's say like Kickstarter and this. Like, do you see a bigger slowdown here?
This is what I will say. Kickstarter has updated the crap out of their UI since the last time. Like, because I ran a second chance campaign for the Embrace 1 back in June, back in like May through June. And it was so much smoother than the last time I had done one. And there was none of the access issues that I've been having with Indiegogo lately. And none of the sketchy practices, like, you know, right now, if you try and back on Indiegogo, you have to be very careful because when you pulls up the page, there's like a tip function. and that money all goes towards Indiegogo, and they automatically charge you like $10. You can set it to 0, but you need to pay attention. You don't have those issues over at Kickstarter. Really, the only positive thing about Indiegogo, in my opinion, is that it takes the funds out immediately, which creates an immediate consequence. Whereas on Kickstarter, it doesn't take out till the very end, so you'll have people that will back and then pull back their funds and what have you. Like didn't happen to me as much on this campaign. On the Second Chance campaign I did for the Embrace one, but when I did Elysian Fields, I did an Elysian Fields hardcover collector's edition. We had a whole bunch of people that had like backed $200 level tiers, and then like literally in like the last week of the campaign they pulled.
Oh, that sucks.
Like it's one of those things where you have people that will back to try and get you over a stretch goal and be a part of that, but then they don't want to actually commit to that pledge amount. Right. And since there isn't that immediate consequence, they don't have an issue with doing it.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Listen. And are you going to run a Second Chance again on Kickstarter for this one?
So what we're going to be doing actually is we're doing Indiegogo first, then we'll be doing Fund My Comic, and then we'll be doing Kickstarter. So It's going to be a very long campaign season for me. But the other cool thing that we're doing with is I know that in the past it's been like stretch goals and everything have been very tchotchke driven. I like me personally, and I know a lot of other people are just kind of, the tchotchkes are nice, but like we're running out of space, right? Mm-hmm. They're just kind of filling up desk drawers and long boxes at this point. So instead of investing in tchotchkes, our stretch goals are upgrades to the covers. So like we've already unlocked one of the cover upgrades, which turns Dean James's main cover of the book into a UV spot gloss cover, right? Mm-hmm. And then when we hit our next stretch goal, we'll turn our B cover into a lava holofoil cover, and like so on and so forth. And these stretch goals will run across all of the campaigns that we do. So every backer that backs whatever stretch goals have been unlocked, they get those stretch goals. And then whatever is unlocked, all the previous campaigns get that stretch goal unlocked as well.
Oh, cool. Sounds nice. It sounds like you got a plan, sir. Sounds good. Like you've met your goal. You got 76 backers. There's 6,100. You got another 21 days. So yeah, you're
we were very fortunate. We funded in about half an hour. We're at 200% of our goal. The only real trick is that since Indiegogo is shadow banning us, it's one of those things where like I'm having, you guys know the grind. You're just going out and doing shows like constantly.
Yeah.
Friday I did 6 shows. It was a long day.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Right. Sounds good. Like I said, you're on your way, sir. You're on your way. You're good. Cool. All right. Let's see. We're almost there. Okay. I'm going to pull this up. Jay, what are we looking at here, sir?
So we're looking at Storm Chasers Volume 2. It collects issues 5, 6, 7, and 8 of the Storm Chasers. This is something I had ran last summer, but due to a death in the family, I pulled it. So we're bringing it back, trying to give it a full go. And we launched it last night. We're at 17 backers. And right now it's at 102 pages of a full-color superhero action trade. Storm Chasers was the first book that I started my creator journey with. Cover is done by Christian Giuseppe. One of the cool things I've been doing recently has been adding a reward for returning backers to say thank you. So that right there is the reward. It's a holochrome trading card. They don't have to spend any extra money, just be a returning backer. If you want to get it and you're not a returning backer, it's $5 extra in the add-on. The trading cards, something that we have been adding with every stretch goal. So we compiled the trading card collection. Then here's some of our older graphic novels. We got the Storm Chasers Volume 1, Unstoppable Origins. We've got the Character Guide, which if you're a fan of the old Marvel Universe Handbook or DC Who's Who, you can get into that, the statistics, the bios. Then we have the digital catalog. So we've got the shirts and some of our holochrome covers for those premium collectors. Then we got who's on the team, and just some preview pages after that. So the story is about a super team that is they really can't get it together. They have a former team member who is coming to them to help them find her child who's been kidnapped. And how can a team get together and save a kid when they can't even get together long enough to save themselves?
All right, cool. Now, how many pages is this particular book?
Right now, there's 102 pages in the book.
102
With
pages.
the possibility of extras being added in the stretch goals that are coming up.
All right, cool. Well, you're about what, 25% there, and you got 34 days. Listen, I don't see you're gonna have a problem to get in there. You got to hustle.
Yeah.
Gotta hustle.
We're gonna. I know. Just like everybody else, I got to do the
grind.
The grind. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Listen, it looks good.
Thanks, buddy.
I mean, it'd be nice if when I back a campaign, I get the prior campaign first. But it's okay. It's okay.
Thanks for throwing me under the bus, buddy.
It's
you
all
are
right.
the only one that has ever backed my stuff that has gotten hand deliveries. Hand deliveries, bro.
Yeah,
Nobody
but
else get hand deliveries. You're gonna see all of this up close and personal. Come on.
I know. I mean, that I should be charging for.
I did hand deliveries on my first couple of books, and then it's just too much gas money.
Want to lose your shirt doing comics? Yeah, that's how you do it.
I was like, yo, like this is a really cool thing, but like, I was like, I would go out on like the weekends and drive around for like 3.5 hours, going to like local people.
Oh no, he's on the way home from work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's the only reason he gets it. Yeah.
Marcus, what are we looking at here, sir?
Yes, sir. You guys are looking at kind of a brand new chapter for Odyssey Comics as we go into the second half of 2024. So this is the first book from our new imprint, Paradox Entertainment, Iberian Curse of the Crown by the ever-talented Luca Bricco, who is the writer and artist on the project, with me serving as editor once again for the project too. This follows the story of a very swords and sorcery classic, mature. If you look at the art, you already get the vibes. This is like straight up 1980s, 70s, heavy metal, Conan the Barbarian, Red Sonja style swords and sorcery fantasy. So just a quick synopsis. The story is in the heart of the kingdom of Athoria. The only king who has ever managed to unite opposing tribes is nearing his last breath. As his impending death sparks a power struggle, shadows from the past emerge, revealing sinister secrets and forgotten prophecies. So Iberian will be an epic that takes place over these giant-sized, graphic novel-sized 60-page issues, each chapter. The first volume of which is going to encompass 6 issues, and we've got close to 4 out of the 6 done in the can already. So this book, number 1, fully done. Number 2 is fully done. Number 3 is just needs a couple of things here and there to do, and then polish things up on number 4 as well. Luca's been really fast and great working with him. He's getting everything knocked out. We expanded an additional 14 pages onto the first edition that he did of Iberian once it came over to us. So what you have available on Global Comics to read for free right now. We're actually expanding even further on that, and this is the first time with this Kickstarter that version is going to be released and available to everyone. So also along with Luca is his lovely and brilliant wife, Emma, who is also an incredible artist in her own right. She did the variant covers, bringing a little bit of her own vibe to Luca's characters too. So right now, of course, we're fully funded. We're actually towards 600% funding. Doing really good with that. Again, digital backers have came in really strong for this one. And then we also have a collected special edition hardcover that combines 1 and 2 into one big book that's probably going to reach around 130 pages by the time all the extras and everything are combined into it. That seems to be something that people have really liked. I think we have probably about 30%, 40% of our funding is coming on a hardcover edition. So backers are really liking the idea of being able to collect these together. And of course, as we do each installment, being able to condense probably 6 books down into 3 hardcover editions would be something very cool for them.
Nice.
So as far as extras, we got chibi stickers of the characters that Luca also created. You see we have character prints, both safe for work and not safe for work, for everybody who can jump in there. Of course, this is very, if you can tell from the art, it goes right at home on the side of a van, probably blaring Led Zeppelin. Metal and black metal especially is a big thing for Luca, a big love for him. So we brought in these black metal band style t-shirts that's available for everyone too. And we talked about this a little bit earlier. This is our figure of Rena from the book. She's featured in chapter 1 of Iberian. This one is a bit bigger than normal. We usually do small like D&D size minis. This one is going to be a 4.5-inch tall figurine that everyone is be able to get. We have it available as both the STL digital that gets added on, or you get a printed version too that we produce. They'll go out as a physical. Here you see the hardcover edition. So this one I was really excited for because we came up with a new cover for Iberian. This was the original cover for it, but I liked it so much and it was so dynamic. I was like, look, we got to use this for the hardcover edition. Let's bring it back in. I'm glad we got to stay true to the original vision of it and bring that in. So right now, since we are far along and we're in the last 60 hours of the campaign, we have unlocked all of our stretch rewards. So every backer is also going to get a holofoil mini print by Dave Gonzalez. Those who follow Aussie Comics probably know him well. He jumps on a lot of our books. Every time we do something with his artwork, people go crazy for it. So this is the perfect project to bring him back again. Like I said, we're pretty much wrapped up with Iberian number 3. So that's going to be available as a digital preview, 30 pages of it. So like a full comic within itself is going to be available as a free bonus digital. And then we just unlocked the print for Arena 2. Every physical backer gets a Arena print also included with their purchase. So yeah, nothing left to do but close it out here the last couple of days. And we're probably going to have a quick fulfillment. Looks like most of our backers really came in heavy for the digital side. So we don't have a whole lot of physical production. The book is done already. So as soon as we can close it out, get the books on order, get everything shipped out, and we'll probably have number 3 ready to go pretty early in the fall for the looks of it.
All right, cool. So what kind of turnaround are you looking for the 3rd and 4th issues or the 2nd issue?
Except for the second issue is included with this one. So
all right, so
yes, the 2nd issue's done. 3rd issue is pretty much done. So we're polishing up number 4 too. So I think the decision for us would be if we just do chapters 1 through 4 in the fall, or if we just want to come with a subsequent one for number 3.
Gotcha. But what are you looking at? Another 3 months, 6 months?
Oh no, not even that long. Yeah, probably I think we'll probably launch the next one. It's almost August already. Jesus. Probably looks like October. We'll be ready to go just to give people time. We're art wise, I said, it's quick. He's already got it knocked out. It's just about giving people time to get with the book. You don't want to come too soon. Just we were talking about a little bit ago, and then run the risk of people not even realizing you're launching another campaign because they're coming in so fast after the first one. Give the first project a little bit of time to breathe, and then hit you guys with number 3 or number 4, 3 and 4 at the same time, and go from there. But this definitely represents a new chapter for us with Paradox. With Odyssey, I kind of realized that people were going for more of a sort of big four, big two adjacent book. I wanted to do things that were a little bit more experimental, but also kind of harkening back to the classic days of indie comics too. So when Luca pitched me this project, it was just like, yeah, there's this. Usually I take time with pitches and really consider them a lot, but I knew immediately like, all right, this is the stuff. Plus I already read it myself too on Global Comics. So I already was familiar with the project and really liked it just as a reader. So when he wanted to publish it with us, then yeah, I was more than happy to represent the book. And the working relationship me and Luca has developed over a portion of this too has been, excellent. He's, quickly becoming one of my favorite creators right now too. He's based out of Croatia. Seems like a lot of what we do from Paradox will be going from the EU and UK side. So that's also going to be a part of us is obviously being like we're already a global entity, but really having two bases of operation now. Of course, me on the US side and our new assistant director coming aboard, Tessa, who's going to be helping guide the hands of the projects over in UK, based out of London and France part-time too. So yeah, we're going to, as if the year wasn't busy enough, we got coming up. Now we're effectively running two wings of Odyssey.
So when do you sleep?
I get it in there. I get time for sleep, maybe a little time for Dragon Age here and there, in between things. But right now, I'm just really focused on. I'm actually dialing things back a bit. We came in with a really aggressive plan for Odyssey coming in this year. We talked a lot about it at the start of the year, and it's just between work and life and everything like that. It's just you gotta be realistic. Some of the teams needed additional time. I've tried to be a good editor and give everybody the amount of time they need for projects, and not crack the whip on deadlines just to meet them arbitrarily. But now we're at a point where it's like the Three Stooges, everybody's trying to get through the doorway. So it's just like this is going to be chaos. We got to slow it down a little bit. So right now, I think we probably have 5 to 6 more campaigns we'll try to get out this year. So we still got a lot coming. So it's weird. I say we're dialing it back, but yeah, another 5 to 6 campaigns is still what we're going to be looking for. And those things are either in the can already right now and ready to go, or they're in process of coming along. But it's going to be in a more manageable schedule for me too, especially as I'll be able to have something come out, take care of things, get fulfillment caught up. Then the next thing comes out.
All right, fair enough. All right, Marcus, you're up. Ask your question.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking on what I talked about a little bit, we're always looking to try to do more and increase our presence in indie comics. I think that's the number one struggle most of us have. Even when we create amazing stuff, it's really hard to get eyes on it. And it's really hard to get from one tier that you're on and trying to grow into the next. So the question I want to posit to the panel is, what, in your opinion, is the best methodology for indie comics creator to grow, to expand their reach and their platform, and try to hit that next rung of success, however they determine it?
All right, fair enough. John, what are your thoughts?
I have no idea, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's I mean, look,
Well, here's the thing.
We wouldn't be here, bro.
That's the real answer. I mean, that's the honest, real answer, right? Because the answer is all the things that we all already know. Have your stuff on social media and groups. You go to cons, do live shows like this. There isn't. I don't really think that there is a thing that can be focused on to be do that, right? I think the only time that I can kind of see a leveling up is one in two ways. One is we go back to what we talked about earlier, right? Where if you're able to use a guy like J. Scott Campbell, somebody a really high name on your product, that can raise the interest level, or at least the awareness of who you are, what you do, in a quick capacity. Even if the sales aren't there, at least you now have under your belt. I've worked with J. Scott Campbell. I've worked with Joe Gisco. I've worked with Ryan Otley, whoever it happens to be. That in a future sense of pitching yourself to other publishers, to cons, like, hey, who are you? Why should I have you at my con? Oh, well, I've got this book by J. Scott Campbell, and so on and so on and so on. That can elevate you in certain eyeballs. But then the next step would be to actually try and move yourself into those tiers in a more permanent sense, not just hiring the guns to come in and do it for you, but try and move yourself into that circle of awareness where you're talked about by those guys. Hey, I worked for Tom, and he's telling that to, I don't know, whoever else. And you can get your name to start circulating on its own through publishers, through Dynamite, through, whoever it happens to be. That's really the hardest part, is sort of jumping from level to level, where the people are actually talking about you. Like I've worked for Aspen, and they've talked about me a little bit. I've worked for Dynamite, and they've talked about me a little bit, but it hasn't really like pushed me into another sphere of like awareness of company awareness. Now, whether it's helped me with fan base awareness, that's a different, discussion too. But, I think that anything that you do that raises awareness to what you're making or who you are is just a good thing. Whether that means you start to learn another social media platform, TikTok or whatever it is, and you start to monkey around with that, or whether you do an extra 2 cons a year in different locations that you don't usually do. You're going to run into new people naturally, obviously. For us, like we just did Motor City for the first time. What a weird experience that was, because we got a whole bunch of new people that didn't know who we were at all. And then we also got this influx of people who were like, you guys still exist? Like, I saw you at C2E2 like 8 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, well, we haven't stopped. Where have you been? But, we're in a new location, right? Somewhere that we haven't been, and people that knew us found us. And then, of course, we had new people that found us. So I think it's just a matter of continuing to just, and it's even goes to Daphne's question that she had in the chat. Is our promotion aimed at, people we've never seen, or people that, are our regulars? I think we're always promoting to our regulars because they're on our social media. They know that we're there. So the trick would be, like, for example, with Facebook has the advantage of having like all these like groups and pages and things that are specific, like, hey, art group and coloring group and Kickstarter group and, whatever it happens to be. And all of those groups have various different people than some of the other places have. So if you can get your marketing, or whatever you want to call it, to include every day dropping, not necessarily links, like, because you want to promote yourself beyond just your link, like even just on a regular basis, like, hey, I'm working with this guy now and I want to show you what we're doing, and just kind of, again, just raise awareness through all of these types of groups. That's something that a lot of the other social medias don't really have. You're really just your own page, and you're feeding, to whoever happens to be following you. So it's just effort in all things to try and find somebody else / maintain the people that, have already found you and enjoy what you do.
You have to be careful in those Facebook groups, though. I've been posting to a lot of them, and I'm pending in a lot of them, because if you post too often, they kind of freeze you out.
Well, that's not about posting too often. That's about lazy moderators. And a lot of those moderators will set those groups up because of like porn bots and stuff get into those groups, and they don't want that stuff circulating. And so they'll just reset it to be like, I have to approve all the stuff. But when you have groups that are super active, and you have one moderator who's like, oh my God, I have like 50 of these things to go through, they might just click off the first 3 and leave the other 40, to float. And then, they'll get the next 3 or 5 the next day and leave 40 to float. So it's tricky for sure. It's a tricky thing, but you can't say I'm not going to post there just because it's backed up, because eventually you'll be in that top 3 to 5 that he says, yes, go. And you'll be good to go.
Oh yeah,
And when you get the familiarity with the moderators too.
Also true, yeah. If they're
like
really
Nina does
aware
a
of
great
you,
job of just letting your stuff go.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is if you are a regular, they can also do a setting for you. Like, just accept Tom's stuff.
Pre-approval. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So just keep going. I would just say keep going. You're absolutely right, but just keep going.
The problem is though, by the time they approve it, the Kickstarter is over with. You know,
Sure,
and then
but again, it's still awareness, right? It's still dropping you in, and then people can ask you, like, if they're like, "Oh, John, I missed it. Like, where do I get your books? Like, where's your website? Like, how do I follow you?" Like, it can still create an awareness moment for somebody that doesn't know who you are. So yes, it sucks that they missed the link, but it can still be valuable.
Cool. Michael, what are your thoughts?
You know, a couple of years ago, I would have said going on like promotional shows a lot because that was what was going on. But a lot of the shows that were a thing a couple of years ago don't run anymore, or like there's so much drama that ends up blowing up within these circles where it's like that's no longer as viable. But I do think that, you know, obviously, you know, getting out there into your local communities, going to conventions, doing that kind of circuit is probably like the tried and true method at this point. And even that's obviously not a guarantee because, you know, you're going into a convention where people are generally looking for stuff with brands and IP that they already know and recognize, right? So it's one of those things of you're competing against everybody, and it's not easy. But I think really it's all about doing your best to get out there, and there's no real guarantee of any result. I don't think that there is a surefire way to grow your market at this point. There's just a bunch of work that you've got to do, and if your project is able to catch eyes, it'll catch eyes, and if it's not, it's not. And that's just the reality of it. Is we are in a very consumer driven market where it's like, you know, it's already the wild west in crowdfunding. When you're going out and trying to grow an audience, you're not just competing with other indie creators. You're competing with mainstream title books of characters that have been around for decades and decades and decades, and it is difficult. So I don't know if there is a surefire way. Like the way that I've done it in the past, as I said, is I've gone on shows and talked, and I've done streams of my own and this, that, the other, engaged with people online. But as time has gone on, there's been a lot less frequency of that because a lot of these shows will end up, you know, somebody gets in a fight with somebody else, and now this person's now persona non grata, right? Like, you know, there's so much drama that ends up fueling things behind the scenes, and it makes.
I don't even know what you talk about, Oden, because I despise Jay, and I have him on every damn week.
Oh my god! I can't stand it.
That might be something you have to look at
You're a
yourself.
better person than most people in Indie Comics. But like, I'll tell you, man, I make jokes about it all the time whenever I pop up on like Nita and Daphne's comments. I'm like, hey guys, what's new? I know that I disappeared, like, because like every single time I do a crowdfunder, the way that I do it is that, you know, I do my promotion, get the book fulfilled, and then I kind of take a little bit to decompress. And so like I step back, have some time with my kid, and do what I need to do to kind of rejuvenate. And when I come back, it's like an atomic bomb has gone off. So like it's just one of these things where it's like, man, what happened? And I come back, it's like, well, you wouldn't believe this shit. And I get like a massive messages from people. You can't talk to this person anymore. I was like, well, what happened? Well, they stabbed X, Y, and Z in the back and did this, that, the other. And you're just like, why the fuck can't we just make comics and not be shitty to each other? Like, why is so like
Ego.
ultimately? I think that
The number one cause.
Yeah. Like,
Go ahead.
I just-
Name the names. Go ahead.
oh man.
Don't name any damn names. We don't want to
I'm not doing that here. Nah, man. I'm not looking to put some targets on my back.
you know,
You never
Maybe
know
we'll
who's
be-
watching.
Since we're not live.
yeah.
But like
Yeah.
yeah, man, like literally every couple of months or so there seems to be something that freaking blows up and it divides an already small community even further. So it's like, yeah, like I do think that the best way is obviously, going to conventions, talking to your local stores and getting your books there and making sure that you have QR codes in your books that will direct you to your website pages. Like stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, what it ultimately comes down to is your book going to compete with the latest issue of frickin' Spider-Man that the onlookers at your conventions or going into your LCSs are there to get.
All right, fair enough. Justin, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to go on a completely different tangent about QR codes. Do you think if you put a QR code to like a Spotify song, you could like add a soundtrack to the comic bit by bit and not get sued? Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like you could like.
Technically, I think that falls under like a fair use category.
Yeah,
Because you're not selling it.
Yeah.
I'm not selling it, and I'm linking to. Yeah, I think it would be okay. It might be kind of a cool add-on thing that you could do for something. Anyway, what was the question?
How to grow?
How do you grow?
I'm at the point where me selling a copy to the podcast host is a big major achievement. So I really have nothing to add to this conversation.
Rosario, get your checkbook out.
Yeah. I haven't gone up one bit, and there's 6 of you. Come on. No, I don't know. I mean, for me, I think I do better at interviews. And it seems like it kind of, I mean, I get some likes and stuff when I post stuff to all those groups on Facebook, but it seems to be sort of a general awareness builder at best. It's not actually generating direct sales. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, this is like my first campaign. So what do I know?
Justin, you're definitely on the right track. That like generally when you post to those groups, like a lot of those people will share it around and that might lead to like a sale or two. But the best way for like, in terms of crowdfunding, specifically, the best way to get people is going on shows, just constantly going on shows and interacting with the people in the chat and talking about your book and having fun, because then people want to get your stuff. But like in terms of growing your actual reader base and building something to be larger, like there's no guarantee, like there is no guaranteed surefire thing. It's all a matter of is your book going to get people to look to like is it going to draw people away from the stuff that they're already there to spend money on,
Right.
and getting it in front of all those people, which requires obviously going to LCSs, going to conventions, having a physical presence. And it's something that I'm looking at doing here in the next year. I haven't been able to do it since I've started. I am now in a position where I am going to be trying to go to 3 conventions a year, because like you need to do that, because otherwise you're like all you're doing is talking to the same people really online.
Yeah.
And like you're not going to grow from that. Not at this point.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right, I guess Jay's busy, so I guess I'll jump in with my tinfoil hat theory. One of the things it's not so much a tinfoil hat theory, it's just a thought, right? Like we see these big companies come in, like Boom, IDW, whatever, these companies come in and they raise a lot of money. Obviously, they have large mailing lists. And I've been seeing some groups of people who promote. And I'm not talking about those random people from God knows where they just, send you 15 things. I can help you sell yourself. Go to Fiverr and give me $10 or whatever. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about this. There's 2 or 3 companies that are small, they seem to have large mailing lists, right? And I'm wondering how much of an effect those mailing lists have on those big campaigns, right? Like, there's at least 2 or 3 campaigns that are over. One of them's close to reaching 6 figures. One of them's over 6 figures. And these will be by people I've never heard of, right? And it's like, where did they get these mailing lists? How do they develop them? You understand? Are they using these contacts, right? Are they using one of these companies and they're using their mailing list, right? And ultimately, it's like, would it be worth it to try to get involved with that sort of thing with that type of company if you have the right type of product, obviously, because you have to talk to them. Because like one dude is like an anime. He was a director for I guess a video game company, and he worked on some high-end video games. And the other book is just something. So that's the thing I've been thinking about now as to whether or not, because here's something, Marcus. You said you used Facebook ads on one of your prior campaigns to gather a lot of new new people onto your mailing list. Did you find that did that work?
Well, right now it's like we did that with Iberian. So we ran a pre-launch Facebook advertising campaign where I didn't go to our traditional mailing list. I let those run, pepper things out here and there just throughout social media, just like see what the reception is and what things are going. And I think we capped out around like 140 pre-launch followers that were mostly new people that are then coming into the campaign. And I think we're at like a 22% conversion rate of all of our backers like total right now. Well, hopefully that'll go up as we go into the end period, which it typically does, as people come in and they start putting their pledges in. Even now they can do with like late pledges. They come in even after the fact. That's the thing. We will be open for late pledges on Iberian, but some things like the hardcover and some of the special covers, those are going to be exclusive to when the campaign is live. So you'll be able to get the standard issues, but you won't be able to get the special stuff. Little disclaimer that I forgot to mention there. So it's testing it out and just seeing if this methodology is different because you know me, I stay busy. I hit this year hard, went to a lot of conventions, rolled out a lot of projects. We're doing a lot of campaigns. We're working with some high profile creators. We got a book in Barnes and Nobles right now. We got a Ringo nomination. Like I did fucking everything you could do in comic books to try to move the needle. And it's just like at that point in time, you have to look internally, be like, okay, like for the effort, the money, the time that I'm putting in, the sleep that I'm losing to get like minimal results of that coming back. Like, is it worth it? Are you really going to be doing those things? Are you really going to get to that level? And the thing I had to tell myself is like, no. And also right now, I can't commit to that level of putting myself out there in that same regard. That's not to say I won't do it in the future, but it got to the point where if I'm doing a con and I'm not really enjoying it anymore, something's wrong. Right. And I had to look internally at that. And I really started to realize that what I love about comics and what I love doing it from, the creative and the publishing aspect is just that the traditional avenue, the traditional way of doing things does not satisfy me. I don't like it. I don't like doing things in that sort of way where my strength is as a publisher, as an editor, as a collaborator and creator is really being that hand that can be there for people, that can lend them that support of being there for a project. Like we all create, we all know how sometimes lonely and miserable an experience like it can be when you're trying to do things. And I've been able to be a person that comes in and give people the support and the backing and everything that they need to get their stuff made, and being a sounding board and like a true person that can help guide a project along. So I think about things a lot in movie terms. So, there's Warner Brothers and Disney and stuff, and they're scrapping shit out and they're just making things and throwing money at everything, hoping it'll be a big success, and they're gonna, be able to build that brand and everything will come back. And then
how dare you? Those books are the cream of the crop. Those are the
creme de la creme, my friend. And then there's the studios like A24 or Blumhouse. They're small, their budgets are minimal, but they give the creators who work with them as much creative freedom as they possibly can. They're trying to make something that is not necessarily like counter to what's going on with other mainstream studios, but they're trying to do something that is like intrinsically a part of them and a part of the process of like giving these independent filmmakers even just mid-tier budgets and mid-tier marketing and like some really fucking dope concepts and support to get those things out there. And by and large, people have recognized that. They built that brand on that. Well, now you see A24 as a logo on the movie, like, you know it's going to be interesting. So my thought process now has been like, okay, I tried that other avenue. Now I want to grow by shrinking and do more with less, by refocusing back on what I created Odyssey for, was to be that sort of like A24 presence in the industry, where like now we're shifting things. Like I'm in the period where we're less about doing open submissions. I'm more about working with creators. You ain't got nothing cool. I like your shit. You're cool. I think you can make dope stuff. Come make dope stuff with me. We'll grow a project from the ground up and do it. And there's actually, I think about 4 projects that are in process that we're doing right now that we've been shifting to this methodology. And the quality of book that is coming out now that you guys are going to start seeing is like, it's leapfrogging over what we're doing, because I'm going back into the core of what I know I can do. Like, I can't be Joe Schmo who runs like Boom or Image or something like that's not me. I don't even want it. But what I can be is that person that is like really trying to make something like special and unique, and really focus on like being a creative partner from the very inception of the book, and developing that and getting it out and getting it to market. Because now it's like the Kickstarter stuff is going to be taking care of itself. We throw a book out now, it gets funded. Like, we don't have to worry about that. But now, where are we going to go? What sort of content and the comics and stuff are we going to make? What sort of creators are we going to collaborate with? So to answer my own question, I think how I grow is like, it's like politics. I think a lot about Star Wars. It's the people out there that can be, a thing. It's like, Count Dooku's trying to take over this, and he's run this whole army and trying to fight the Jedi and the Republic and everything. But Palpatine, he is whispering in the shadows. He's working and moving all these machinations to get things to where he wants it to be, and then sort of reveal the master plan. And I think that's more the case for me. The more creators I'm in with, the more little pockets of comics that I'm nestling myself in, and the more people that I'm collaborating with, and the products that are coming out as a result of that are ultimately, I think, going to be the thing that gets me to where I want to be. And that's not really a matter of, I'm not putting a money value to it. I'm not putting like any sort of accolades or anything like that, but kind of looking internally at myself. Am I having fun with comics? Are we being successful with the things that we want to do? And am I happy with the quality of the books and everything that we're making? Are people happy with it, and are they jiving with it? Those are the things that I'm looking to check off my list, and everything else will take care of itself after that, I think. And that's all I got to focus on.
All right. Cool. Jay, you got anything to add?
No, if I knew what I was doing, I'd be doing better in my campaign.
All right. Fair enough, gentlemen. We made it to hour 2. Let's start with Michael. Please, sir, let us know where we can find you and your work, sir.
Yep. You can find me on Facebook, 9 Realms Publishing, and Instagram, 9RP Comics. I'm also on YouTube, 9 Realms Publishing, where you can watch me occasionally shoot the shit about Roman history. And then on Twitter, at ElysianFields_0, you can find me there. The Embrace 2 is live on Indiegogo, and there's a whole bunch of exciting stuff coming from my wheelhouse here over the next year. Really excited to bring it to you guys.
All right, cool. Justin?
The campaign's on Zoop. You'll see it, zoop.gg/c/SWAT1. On Facebook, that's probably the main place I am now. I am on Blue Sky as Justin Coke at Blue Sky, and then, or whatever, however they do it, and then Justin Coke 6161 on Threads, and fuck off Elon 2020 on Twitter. I probably need to change that. Don't use that one a whole lot. And yeah, that's about it.
All right, cool. John, where can we find you, sir?
I'm on pretty much all the social media. You can find me under Diebold, like Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, Facebook. And my site is Ko-Fi / Diebold Comics.
All right, cool. Mr. Tom, where can they find you, sir?
Yeah, we pretty much live on Facebook first, and then it all filters out to Instagram and Twitter and all those other places. BigDogInc.com is our web store if you want to get back issues and stuff. And there's 9 days left on the BD14 anthology.
All right, cool. Marcus?
OdysseyComics.com. Simple as that.
All right, there you go. Jay?
UnstoppableComics.com. You can find all my social media links right there in the website. And Kickstarter for Storm Chasers Volume number 2 right now.
All right, cool. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the different places in the JD Calderon. You can find me on the OswaldChronicles.com. Kind of had a bit of a little mishap. It blew up, but Daphne is putting it back together. She's doing an excellent job. And the website is going to actually be much better for it. So
Nice.
Thank you to her. Thank you. And also, I think in 2 weeks, I will have the next Oswald campaign up on Kickstarter. I will be fulfilling the current one this week. And in 2 weeks after that, Dreamweavers will go up. And then, it's just more madness. So there you go. So just remember, everybody, check out those show notes. Check out those links. All of these creators, all their links are down there. Click on those links. Go buy these books. These are awesome books by awesome creators. Everybody here deserves your support. These are all great books. So please, click on those links. Go check them out. And just remember, buy more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everyone.
Later.
Later.
Peace.